Welcome back to the Soft and Wealthy podcast, where we talk about everything from entrepreneurship to self development and everything in between. Today, we have a super trendy topic that I wanted to go over with you guys because passive income is a trend word that we hear all the time, but we just don't really know where to place it. And let me give you guys an example. Listen, as an entrepreneur, my timeline on YouTube or really any social site is full with shiny pennies. I see it all the time. It's so overwhelming. I could just be scrolling YouTube looking for my favorite podcast, and I will see advertisements, anything, pictures, graphs, just everything about what I'm doing wrong as an entrepreneur and how this brand new six-figure concept is going to lead me to riches. And it is just so overwhelming. And because I'm nosy, I actually watch like the videos, and I'm just like, they say, no, it's not Amazon, it's not this, it's not that. And it just becomes overwhelming because it's just like, what do I need to do in order to get this $1 million by tomorrow? Right. So, in order to break this down for you, I wanted to, I'm going to give you two things that, passive income tips that you guys could take with you and maybe let that branch off into a business for you. But I also wanted to take some time to break down what passive income actually is, right? So, of course, I went to Google because Google is our friend in a lot of cases. And I just looked at, like, basically, what is passive income? What does it even mean? So according to Google, passive income is money earned according to Google, passive income is money earned with minimal effort or active involvement, which I think that's pretty much what we all think passive income is. And Google continues to say it often comes from investments like real estate, business activities where the earner isn't directly participating. Examples include rental income, dividends, and royalties. So, yes, I mean, that seems like something really common that we all can place towards passive income. Ideally, it's just something that we don't have to put our active energy from, but we're still enjoying the riches from that source of income. But how do we get to passive income, right? Like, how do we get there? I see a lot of these places that promote passive income, they often forget that you have to build the bridge to create the path, right? You got to build the stairs in order to walk up, right? Or you got to build a dam. You guys get what I'm saying? You got to build a dam in order for the water to flow. You have to build it and they will come. I mean, add some other building analogies to it. You guys know what I'm talking about. You got to spend the time building it. And I think that's where a lot of people fail, because we might hear that you have to build it and they will come, but we're not really prepared to live that life of building it, right? So for an example, one passive income that I had in my life was Airbnb. Now, when I started doing Airbnb, I kind of just like took off. I came like Miss Airbnb USA, right? I got a taste of what that income could look like. And, my first couple months of Airbnb, I grew it to something that was making me $10,000 a month on Airbnb. And I was in a position where I was getting new properties every single month, and life was great. And also, I was really big on the theme stuff. So I would create these things myself. I would decorate, I would imagine what I want that theme to look like. I had the pink house, I had the farmhouse style, I had the super luxury style. I had everything. I was really big into Airbnbs, right? And eventually I turned that into a passive business, but not before it was super active. It was super active in me getting the Airbnbs. It was super active in me going to work, designing those Airbnbs myself. I mean, going there, painting, decorating, building brick walls. I was doing the most, right? Um, and then going through all of the issues that comes with Airbnbs as well. You got the clients, you got maintenance issues, you got people breaking stuff, ruining furniture, all of these things, right? And so I realized that business model is not really passive. Now, the money comes, it's great. You could be out for lunch. You could be like, eating dinner. You could just be waking up, and you'll check your text messages, and you'll see, oh, Airbnb just sent you $800. Airbnb has sent you, $1,000, or Airbnb has sent you $500, and you're just like, oh, this is the life. I didn't even leave the house today. I just made like $1,500. And that's a good life. And it did introduce me to what passive income could be, because everything that I've done before that, while successful, it always required me to be an active participant in the business, right? So Airbnb kind of changed my life when it came to the idea that income could happen with me building it up first, creating systems, and then letting it passively feed my bank account after that. Now, how I turned it to a extremely and true passive business was by taking out all of the physical units. Physical units is always going to require physical effort, right? Unless you hire a whole team and they just manage it, and you just kind of like go to Tahiti and mind your business. That's a different story. But for me, I tried that. It really wasn't working because I'm very particular about things. And if I hire somebody and they're not me, it's always going to be a problem at that time in my life. So that part didn't work out for me. So I decided to just take all of my physical units, clear that out the scene, right? And then look into this timeshare Airbnb stuff. So this timeshare Airbnb actually is what made the Airbnb completely passive for me. And let me tell you how. So if you ever had a timeshare, then you know that you're allowed to, have a designated week out of the month, right? So let's say you have a designated week out of the month, and instead of using that week for yourself, you give it to a friend and family, which a lot of timeshares allow you to do. So now you put that week on Airbnb, and you make the calendars open for that particular week, whatever week it is. The person will then request the book, because they can't do an instant book in this case. They will request the book. You would make sure that there's space available. You would set it up for them, and then you would accept the booking. The good thing is Airbnb captures the money from the client. So once you pay for the room, or you reserve the spot from your free week, then all you have to do now is collect the money. And there you go. That's passive, right? You don't have to worry about turnover. You don't have to worry about cleaners. You don't have to worry about furniture, pictures, or anything, because you're using all of the images that's already available on the website of whatever resort that you put on Airbnb. Now, if you have a timeshare that allows you to have multiple weeks at a discounted rate, like let's say they charge you $200 per night when the normal rates are like $300 to $400 a night, then you can get the difference. So let's say you do the same concept, but they request a book, you make sure that time is available, but now you're paying that $200 nightly rate. You're locking it in, you're assigning it to the person, you're accepting the booking, and now you get the difference. Now, that has pros and cons, because yes, it can blow up in your face if they do cancel the booking, and you could potentially lose money. Potentially, some cases you can get your money back. Sometimes, some cases you can rebook. But some cases it's just a total loss, and that's just a risk that goes into any business. But most of the time, the person comes and it's a passive income stream for you. Now, for this model, you do have to have some type of capital to work with in advance, because you do need to pay for the booking before you can accept the booking from the client and actually get that money. But for this, you can make it completely passive, because the beauty about that is that particular model and method only requires one person. So let's say you have one VA that you have now made a co-host. So you can either pay them hourly, like $6 or $7 an hour, and they can manage your Airbnb for 8 hours a day, accepting bookings, connecting the bookings to the calendar, and making sure that all Q&As are answered. Or you can make them a co-host, and they just get paid from the bookings. So they do all the work, they get paid from the bookings, and you just literally create a passive income stream for yourself, being not involved at all, right? Either way, this can be developed into a true passive income stream, but yes, there is work required upfront. Yes, you need to figure out the rules and regulations of your resort. Yes, you need to set up the systems. Yes, you need to upload it to Airbnb. And of course, yes, you need to get the timeshare. So here's a baby tip for that. You don't need to actually go to the resort to get a timeshare. A lot of times you can buy a timeshare contract from eBay. So that's a baby tip. A lot of times if you go to the resort, they're going to charge you thousands of dollars for a timeshare, right? You don't need to mortgage these expensive timeshares. There are people that will sell you their paid off timeshare for like $50. Just go on eBay and Google timeshares for sale, or look up a specific timeshare company and put in their name and type in, that timeshare company for sale, and, talk to the seller, make sure they have good reviews, do your research on their timeshare, see how it's transferred over. And a lot of times you can get a timeshare contract that comes with points already for a fraction of the price. So I just gave you a lot of breadcrumbs. Go ahead and make the sandwich. I didn't give you the full play, the full in and out. I just put you on a right path that you can now take that information and run with it if you're interested in that. But yes, you can create a passive income stream from timeshare Airbnb, and you can do it with minimal effort. Another thing is asset recovery. So if you know anyone who ever lost their house in a due to tax delinquency or due to foreclosure, what you didn't know and what you likely, were not aware of is that that person might be entitled to funds from the sale of the foreclosure. So to flesh that out for you, let's say that Susie had a house that she was delinquent on taxes for, and now is up for sheriff's sale. The house was appraised at $200,000. It sold to an investor for $100,000, right? So on paper, that house appraised for $200,000. It sold for $100,000. The difference of that is $100,000, right? Because it appraised for $200,000 and it sold for $1 million. So because she was the owner of the property, she's entitled to the leftover equity in the house. Susie is not aware of this. She also has some liens on her property. So liens could be from a second mortgage. It could be from, any type of mechanics liens. If you owe them money, they can take they'll take their money out of your proceeds first, right? It's like taxes. If you owe money, they're going to take their taxes first. Just think of it like that. So let's say she has like $10,000 worth for liens on the house. So of course we're going to deduct that $10,000 for the $100,000 she owed. But now that she has this $90,000 just sitting there at the county, Susie does not know that, right? Because who really knows that you're entitled from any proceeds when you lose a house? That's not like information that's out there. So let's say you were an asset recovery specialist. The job of an asset recovery specialist is to go on the county's website, like let's say the Franklin County's website, and you would look up excess proceeds. Excess proceeds, the list of individuals who were entitled to excess proceeds, which is leftover money from the sale of the house. So they give you a list. A lot of times it's just right out there. It has the address of the house and how much money is owed. And you see Susie's name and it says $100,000, right? Because it doesn't show you the liens up front in most counties. So you look up Susie, you call around, you see what liens are owed on a property. You create an information packet, which literally could take you less than an hour. And then now you call up Susie and you say, Susie, hey, my name is me, and I'm calling from my assets recovery firm. And what we do is we connect people with their money from the sale of their houses. Did you know that you had $100,000 from the sale of your house on 123 Main Street? Susie will undoubtedly look at you like, what? You are crazy. I don't owe any money. Stop trying to scam me. Get off my phone. Then, because you spent the time making this packet for Susie, you could just send her a picture or an email and say, hey, Susie, this is your name. This is your address. This is the county information. There's money there for you from the sale that happened on last week, right? Do you want this money? Susie would be like, yeah, I want the money, right? And then you say, very good. So what my company does is we process the paperwork for you, and we don't charge you anything up front, and we don't charge you anything in case you have any liens on the property and the funds cannot be dispersed. We only charge you 10% on the back end once the funds are released. Do you want us? We have a full legal team, which you can create. We have a full legal team. We have a relationship with the county, which you would because you're working with the county. And we'll process this for you. You don't have to worry about anything. Highly likely that because there's no risk and high reward, Susie will say yes. Then you go on the county's website, download the form that says recover your assets proceeds. You will fill out the form. Of course, you will let Susie know that she has a $10,000 lien, so that $100,000 is now $90,000. But you also look like more of a professional because you knew that information before you called her. And so then she's like, okay, so you get 10% of my $90,000 and I get the rest. You say, right. So you have her fill out the paperwork via DocuSign, or you go in and meet her. She fills out the paperwork. You guys get it notarized, and then you submit the paperwork and just wait for the check. Now the check either mails you, the county either mails you the check, or they mail it to Susie, and you get your 10% on the back end, and she gets the rest of her money because you guys are now under a contractual obligation to get paid for the service that you provided. So for you, that whole process probably took less than 3 to 4 hours to make, let's say, $9,000. Susie walks away with, what is that, $81,000 that she never even thought she'd had before. She was in distraught. She was like, I just lost my house. Now I just have this $81,000. You literally put this whole deal together during your lunch break and only spent a grand total of 4 hours. And most of that time was gathering information and calling Susie, sending her information. Now you filled out the paperwork, you sent it to the county, and you were done. And now you're just waiting on a check. And you now have an additional $9,000. Now, the reason why I say that this can be passive is because if you're only doing this during your lunch break, hey, if you have someone sitting at home, like a wife or a spouse or a mom or a kid that's old enough, you can have them pull the list from the access proceeds list. Then when you get on your lunch break, you commit to calling a couple people, or you can communicate with them through email to reach out to them. Once you get that person to understand that they have money pending and your company is going to be the company that gets it for them, you get them the paperwork, they sign it, and you send it to the office, and that's it. You just wait for money. That's literally something that you can just hire VAs to do, or have somebody in your house to do. And now you're walking away with a lot of money, and you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to start this new brand, just something simple to look professional online, but you don't have to do much, right? And you now have a highly profitable, very lean business that you can make into a passive income stream. Now, more on making that passive. If I had a VA and their job was to literally pull lists from all of the different counties in, let's say, Ohio, and then I have a whole system of automations that does the work of reaching out to these people and following up with them and emailing them and texting them and leaving them voicemail drops, which is very technical. And I'll get into that in a future episode, maybe next season. And this is all happening while I'm at work. So when I get home from work, I'm just getting callbacks or emails or text messages asking me, what are you talking about? Can you call me to explain? I'm calling them to explain. I'm emailing them over the paperwork. They're signing it, getting back to me, and we're getting money. It's just so many ways that you can create this in a really simple way. But that's called asset recovery. It's not a very popular business. It's not, considered to be sexy, but it's extremely lucrative if you know how to do it, right? So those are two examples. The timeshare, Airbnb, and the asset recovery business is something that is not talked about because it's not something that you can put on Instagram and have, look aesthetically pleasing and have a bunch of followers and all this other thing. But it's going to be things that you don't have to put your face on. It's faceless. You don't have to, you know what? I would throw in another one. Faceless YouTube. So faceless YouTube, let's say you have a very popular TikToker, right? Like let's say Keith Lee. Keith Lee is very popular. We also have whatever trending thing is going on right now. So you got the Jada Pinkett thing going on right now. You have the Britney Spears thing going on right now. You're going to have the P. Diddy and Cassie as of me making this video. So what you can do is, or you can just find a really successful TikToker. So what you can do is go on that website, TikTok, pull the videos, and then you can go on a website called CapCut. You can put the videos together, which is like a compilation of all of their most popular TikTok or all of those most popular clips. And you can just literally put that on YouTube, make a brand new YouTube page, put it on YouTube as like this TikToker's compilation of videos, right? Then you just leave it there because that person is already popular. That video is going to get views, and once you get a ton of views, ads and promotional opportunities is going to come your way, and now you can monetize your account and make passive income that way too. So just basically taking free clips that are available online, putting them together, putting them on the faceless YouTube channel, and then just having it there, maybe using some keywords, and then letting the person's popularity lead to funds for you without you having to brand, market, or do anything, as another form of passive income. But you did have to do the work up front. You did have to create the videos, which probably takes less than a couple hours. You throw it up there and you don't have to, it's kind of like set it and forget it. You don't have to think about it. When it makes money, it does. If it doesn't, who cares? Very low risk because all of those things are free. So those are 3 things for passive income. Just know that whatever you do, make sure you see it through, okay? Regardless if it makes money today and it doesn't make money for another 6 months and then it starts making money yet, ride the wave, pick something that you can do effortlessly and that you're not forcing yourself to do just to make a quick buck, and be committed to one thing. When you're committed to that one thing, you're going to see the income come. Okay, guys? All right. This is your girl, Jay Carter, and I will see you in the next episode.